Welcome to, I think, a new fun partnership that we're going to have here on all of the platforms. My name is Tim Young. I'm hanging out with all of you live today and also with everybody at ForAmerica. If you guys aren't following ForAmerica on all of their pages or Tim Runs His Mouth on all of my pages, make sure you do that right now. We've got a lot to talk about today. I'm actually very excited to be here with you guys on this great Thursday afternoon. We're going to do these in the afternoon so then we can clip them. And so that we can all go out and do something at night as opposed to sitting around hanging out. If you guys don't know who I am Tim Young. I go by Tim Runs His Mouth on social media. I think you guys have been following me for a minute here on a lot of things. And of course, ForAmerica are the world's greatest team of meme makers and video clippers. I believe they are the best of the best, and I'm very, very excited to be partnering with them. So let's not waste any time here. By the way, if you want to just get bored and look through all of my my set here and my bookshelf behind me, I don't know how long we'll keep it that busy, but I really enjoy it. And also, I got my Evan Williams, not a sponsor, very important to mention, not a sponsor. They don't pay me for this, but I got my Evan Williams America 250 bottle because if you put red, white, and blue in America on something, I'll buy it. It's not even a thought. I've got my ALF cards down here too. So literally anything that is red, white, and blue, I will buy it. And including my OKC, the Oklahoma City minor league baseball hat I got on. All right, so the Hill has become a circus this week because apparently it was time for the Trump administration to go and visit with all of the unfriendly Democrats and occasionally unfriendly Republicans. And it turned into exactly what I would think the hearings would turn into, but also it gave us a chance to show just how good Marco Rubio is in handling the craziness. I think he is prepared for higher office. Now, I don't know what you guys think about that. If you think he should be the presidential nominee or you think J.D. Vance should be the next presidential nominee, you can debate that in the chat or in the comments or wherever you would like to. But for right now, I am quite happy that both of them are on my team, and you just can't miss when here we go. Where is this clip? You know, what's amazing is when I produce these things by myself, just how much of a mess it turns into. Where is the clip? There's a very, very good clip to start off here. You have to take my word for it. Here we go. They started talking about whether or not shoes fit. Now, I know what you're saying to yourself. How did it get there? Well, when you have TDS like Representative Jacobs from California, shocker, that's how it gets there very, very quickly. Here we go. You be the judge of what she's saying here.
Last question for you. Mr. Secretary, who won the 2020 presidential election?
I'm not here to answer a question. We're talking about 2020. This is a foreign affairs committee.
Okay, great. You can't answer the question, even though we all know that President Biden won. I don't answer the question
because the Secretary of State, I do not participate in domestic political issues.
This is not about domestic political issues. This is about our democracy.
You're asking me to...
Okay, so right there, it's not about domestic issues. It's about our like she has a script. And I understand that, like, Democrats, they want to get their social media clips in. They want to be able to say what they need to say so that their fans can clap like seals, their 6 fans, and all of their mail-in ballots that may or may not have been filled out by the same person. So she already starts off from a false premise. It gets worse.
Pine, just like I don't do campaign rallies.
It seems like
I don't do because as Secretary of State, we're not supposed to. That's been the long tradition of the department, and you should know that if you've been on this committee for any period of time.
Mr. Secretary, it seems like you have an issue admitting facts. You can't say that the president lost the 2020 election, just like you won't admit President Trump is losing this reckless war of choice, and just like you couldn't admit that the shoes the president bought you were too big.
I mean, I'm not saying that maybe women shouldn't be in elected office. But would a man be talking about somebody else's shoes? I mean, and she, like, I feel like she talks about that with her girlfriends. They had a couple of martinis or a couple of margaritas one night. Maybe her staff. I don't know who her staff are. They need to be fired. But like, are they sitting around talking about, oh, go use the shoe line. That's gonna work on Rubio. That's an own. And you see that she's got the high eyebrows. She really thinks like she's got something there. She's in full Karen mode right now. Rubio shuts it down.
You clearly don't know what winning means, and not because the facts are unclear to you. It's because telling the truth would cost you your job, and the American people are entitled to a Secretary of State who tells them the truth even when the president doesn't want to hear it, and my constituents, our service members, deserve better.
You're not telling the truth about your shoes, sister. What?
Chairman, I yield back.
I don't know what shoes she's talking about. What is she talking about?
Representative Burchett.
Hold on. So the under his breath when he says, I don't know what shoes he's talking about, and you hear the chairman go, I don't know.
Representative Burchett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'd like to answer any of that.
Yeah, I don't know about the
I'll
shoes.
give
I mean,
you a
he gave me
minute.
some Florsheim shoes. They're actually pretty good. They fit fine. I don't know what she's talking about. And maybe that's what she's referring to.
Your shoes look very nice today, Mr. Secretary.
Where is she going with this, by the way? So after the shoe thing, she's now complimenting his shoes? What is that? Is that called? Oh, see, when you go to a bar, that's called negging. That's what it's called, negging. So you walk up to her and you go, you don't need to eat that or whatever, and then you compliment them after you put them down, and then you get their number. I think that's maybe what she's doing here with Marco Rubio. He's married, but you start by knocking the shoes, and then you tell him how nice his shoes are. I want to go back because after she says this,
Your shoes look very nice today, Mr. Secretary.
Well, how can you see them? They're way down here. We're talking about shoes. Are you guys kidding me? I mean, is this the Foreign Affairs Committee or is this like a circus? What is this?
I think it's a
Let's go.
circus, but I'm
your shoes look really nice today, Mr. Secretary. They look really nice. I just wanted to let you know that your shoes look nice after President Trump gave you big shoes. What is happening? But that was the theme of the day. Here's more nonsense from Democrats. Who is this one? Madeline Dean. Have you ever heard of Madeline Dean? Do any of these Democrats accomplish anything when they're in Congress, or do they just they show up and they get their clips by trying to own Trump cabinet members?
Distribution.
Well, because one of those were in cahoots with Hamas. And we saw an incredible
Again,
amount of the aid flow into Hamas's hands.
Reclaiming my time, the aid was
Here we
held
go with the
up at
reclaiming
the
our
border
time
by
thing.
Israel, and
You
you
guys got to
know
fix
it.
your rules here. You can't even answer a question.
You're not following the rules. You're very familiar with how this works.
No,
The
I
time
don't. I
is-
never served in the House.
time
This is a weird rule.
the
Will you
time
ask
is
a question
mine.
and I can't answer?
Would you please add time to the clock?
Nope.
He's
Sorry, that might have been too loud of a laugh for me. Can you add time back to the clock? Nope. The look on her face. Hold on. My face is too big here. Look at the look on her face. The reaction there. Again, Republicans aren't playing their game here. Aren't playing the Democrats' game here. And I want you to keep in mind, this is going to be nonstop if Democrats are able to take back the House. So here we go with the Reclaiming My Time game was started by Maxine Waters. That's who started screaming, I reclaim my time. That's where this all came from. That's where every one of the comms directors or staffers have then told their members of Congress, use the reclaim my time thing. I don't believe Republicans have ever screeched like this, but I just want to hear that nope again, just for my own good feelings.
Would you please add time to the clock?
Nope.
He's
The look, just the look there. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. I mean, I don't know how the congressmen on the right tolerate the nonsense from the left when they start their BS questions, talking about big shoes, talking about reclaiming their time, just randomly flailing around. I would be remiss to not bring up, I didn't even know that this guy still existed. But Ted Lieu is still. Did you know Ted Lieu was still in Congress? I didn't. He's disappeared for a little bit. He hasn't been screeching a lot on social media a lot lately. Maybe I've got him muted. I don't look at the For You tab enough. But Ted Lieu then starts to run with the lie about President Trump falling asleep during things. And by the way, where was he during Biden? Biden was asleep. He would get lost on stages. He would wander into the jungle. The one time he just wandered into the jungle. I don't even know what happened. It looked like he had one too many margaritas at a rainforest cafe, just wanders into the jungle like he's looking for the bathroom or something. But he would wander off. Remember, Macron would have to wrangle him when he would come back into things. But Democrats now are worried that Donald Trump might be falling asleep at something. And of course, they bring this up with Marco Rubio. Here is Congressman Ted Lieu, who I didn't know still existed. And I guess those are his staff behind him. Who knows? I don't know how these things work. Here we go.
Sleeping right next to you.
No, he's not.
If Donald Trump cannot stay awake at these important meetings where the cameras are rolling, Imagine what he's like when the cameras are not there. So I'm going to ask you,
Again, this is exactly, by the way, this is exactly what we were saying about Joe Biden. If he gets lost on stage, what's he like when he's not there? He would go missing for weeks at a time with Joe Biden. And Democrats were completely silent about it until afterwards when they helped, when it helped them sell books. And now, Jill Biden says that she thinks he had a stroke or something. Everybody's lying about it to try to cash in on poor Joe. Also, remember, Joe supposedly had stage 4 cancer at some point. I don't know what happened to that either. But anyway, here's Ted Lieu talking about how he believes Donald Trump falls asleep. This is, again, strap yourselves in for a minute and a half.
have you been at classified meetings where Donald Trump has fallen asleep or had trouble staying awake?
I've never been at any meeting where, and the things you're showing me now, he was not falling asleep. And
So-
I think
so
it's
you're
outrageous
lying
that I'm before
again.
the Foreign Affairs
You're lying
Committee of the United States
consistently
House of Representatives
to
asking questions about
Congress.
sleep.
You're
This is a
lying to
joke.
Congress, Secretary Rubio. So I'm going to show you another video in a moment.
Respond to that, other than to tell you that it's absurd and ridiculous. And I can't believe we're in a Foreign Affairs Committee meeting in front of the House at an important time in American foreign policy.
Just keep lying,
answering
Secretary Rubio.
questions
Just keep
from a
lying.
so-
That guy behind Rubio there, the kid behind Rubio, is having a great time.
supposedly someone who thinks he's a medical expert when he's not. The truth of the matter is we had a cognitively impaired president in office a few years ago. That's a cognitively impaired president, but I don't like to talk about that because it weakens America. This president we have, this is a guy that literally doesn't sleep. He works day and night, long hours, every single day. I don't know if you haven't seen him in 8 days. I saw him yesterday. I didn't see him today, but yesterday because I was in Congress the day before. I talked to him at all hours of the day and night. He works inhumane hours. Okay, I've been on foreign trips with the president that he doesn't sleep in the whole flight. And everyone else is sleeping on the plane, and he's, wandering the hallways looking for someone to wake up and talk to that people are. So I don't know what you're referring to, but he has an incredible amount of energy. I'm just telling you, you may not like.
I've heard that, by the way, from former senior staff of the White House, that Donald Trump doesn't sleep. But he's just one. Can you imagine you're dozing off to sleep, and you're in the cheap seats? You're in the low economy. You're in the Spirit Airlines seats. On you don't even get snacks on Air Force One. You're in the back, and you kind of have an eye cracked, and the president of the United States is walking by looking for somebody to talk to about whatever they're working on. That's that would be a moment. I would think that maybe I had one too many before I got on the plane.
Like his policies. You may not like his policies, you may not like the decisions he's made, but I assure you, this is not a president that sleeps or is cognitively impaired in any way, shape, or form, and in fact is incredibly active, much more so in many cases than much younger people that are around him. Those are facts. I see it every day. You're not going to agree because you have another narrative that you want to push, but those are the facts.
Can I just say, while he says that, he's like, you're not going to agree because you have another narrative to push. Why are more Republicans not taking notes on what Marco Rubio is doing, how he's handling this, what he's saying here? Like that is exactly how you handle this. You say, I understand you're trying to just say something here, but I'm going to answer the truth, and then you can go on with your little game. But I'm not playing your game. I think it's brilliant by Marco Rubio. I think that's what more Republicans should be doing. When you are standing up against this insanity, and you have to sit there and tolerate this insanity from the left, call it out. Break the fourth wall. Don't argue. Shut them down. So that's what's been going on in the Hill. It's been Trump visiting the Trump administration visiting the Hill week. Here's Mark Wayne Mullen, Secretary of DHS, got to hang out with Al Green, who used to shop at the exact same Safeway I used to shop at on Capitol Hill. I've seen Al Green shuffle around shopping for bread. I mean, that's my bona fides on commenting on this. But here's Al Green being Al Green. Oh, does he have a photo? He has a photo of himself holding up the sign. Listen, they say Trump is a narcissist, and they say he's got a big ego. But it takes a lot to use government funds to print out a photo of yourself holding a sign at the State of the Union address to then bring to Congress.
A racist, Mr. Secretary, would do what happened to Ruby.
Are you calling me a racist?
A racist.
I'm asking a question.
Reclaiming my time, ask him to shut up.
That's a pretty.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Up. It's my time.
I'm not gonna let anybody call me a racist, Chairman.
I never called him a racist. It's my time.
It is, gentlemen. Will suspend.
You will not.
Tell him to shut up.
It'll, gentlemen, suspend. No, the gentleman will suspend.
Again, telling the Secretary of DHS to shut up, but also very clearly he used taxpayer money did Al Green to bring a photo of himself to Capitol Hill. Why in the hell would you bring a photo of your... Again, I don't understand Democrats. I don't understand what they're doing. And I've got one more clip here I want to get to before I bring in my first guest, CEO of Citizens Alliance, Cliff Maloney. Because somebody really, 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 really owned the Democrats. Scott Bessent brought receipts in a manner that I never thought that he would be able to bring receipts. Cliff's practicing holding up his book before he comes on here. I see him in the little window. But Scott Bessent, let me tell you something. This guy, don't get on his bad side. He's here with Senator Wyden, who's saying whatever, just nonsense at him. And I don't want to steal the thunder of what Scott Bessent says, because it's amazing. Here we go.
Senator Wyden has mendaciously slandered the Treasury building in an attempt to cover up his son having an investment meeting with Jeffrey Epstein.
Look at his face.
To ask for funding. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
let's be clear here. Nobody is interested in the ramblings of a capo in the most corrupt regime in American history. We want to get some facts
He looks bad, by the way. TDS is getting to him.
about this deal. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I will ask my questions first today.
And we would like to hear what Adam Wyden and Jeffrey Epstein talked about. Your son's largest investment position was Rick's Cabaret. So did your son and Jeffrey Epstein talk about pole dancing as he begged him for money using your limited credibility?
Can you? It doesn't get better than that. That's the own. You brought the facts, and he just slammed Wyden's son for investing in a strip club with Jeffrey Epstein. Yikes. So that's been part of the circus. That's been Congress this week. Somebody who's not part of a circus. Somebody who is the head CEO of Citizens Alliance and a good friend, Cliff Maloney. How you doing, man?
I'm great, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Are you in your new headquarters? I heard that you have expanded. So here's a guy, he ran, I'm not to mention the PA chase anymore because he won it for Trump, and now we're expanding beyond. Citizens Alliance goes far beyond the just going after door knocking in one state. They're expanding to multiple states because they had victory in one. They've got a plan to move forward. That plan has been written out in a book that we're going to talk about in a second. But he is now nationwide, starting from success and it was Idaho first. I know this man's whole career. And then Pennsylvania. And now Citizens Alliance nationwide. How are we going to win here, Cliff? What's going on? How are we going to get the midterms? Are we going to get the presidency? Where are we going here?
Well, let me start by saying we've got to see gas come down at least $1, right? I think anybody that thinks that if we continue with what's happening in Iran, whatever the solution is, whatever the ending needs to be, it's got to happen quick. I mean, listen, people are going to start voting in 3 months. Let me say that one more time, Tim, because it's pretty wild. In 3 months, in September, we will start to have people that are voting across the country in these states that allow for early voting. So what are we doing at Citizens Alliance? Our red wall plan, as you said, is expanding. We're doubling down in Pennsylvania. So we've been on the ground here since January 1. I am sitting in our headquarters. We've got a new paint job. Things are looking a little better than our old dilapidated, headquarters that we've had in the past. But we are partnering with Turning Point. We just announced that we're expanding. We're in New Hampshire, we're in Nevada, and we're in Arizona as well as kind of this red wall plan for us to try to win the midterms. And in each of those states, look, it's not just statewide races. We've got targeted congressional districts to try to hold the House. We've obviously got some Senate races, but we've also got a major effort to keep the state Senate and the state House or to flip them in these key battleground states. But all of this is looking 2028 and working backwards to build permanent infrastructure. As you know, I've talked about it many times on your show. That's what the name of the game is. We have to beat the Democrats at their own game.
When you take a look at what's going on in California right now, because one of the stories that I didn't get to cover here, they say it might take 3 weeks to count the ballots in California. And magically those ballots come in one very, very serious left-leaning direction every time those ballots do come in. This is part of what motivates you, right? Is the fact that we can't sit back while this kind of stuff happens over and over again in these states, and we have to fight them on their own playing field and then with their own rules.
Well, I think you have two options with these rules, which are one, you can take the L, right? You could say, look, it's not worth it. We can't beat them. They're going to cheat. They're going to do this. And there are people that do that, right? They sit out and then we definitely lose. Or you can fight like hell, right? And so that's always been my motto is what are the current rules? What are the limits or the line in the sand that I can go to legally? How do I match the Democrats' tactics and try to beat them? And I say it's not illegal to fight fire with fire. But if you're going to sit there and you're just going to let yourself, kind of be okay with the loss, that's the worst attitude in the world. And so I always advocate for getting rid of mail-in ballots. I want a single day of voting, paper ballots, hand count, no machines.
Yeah.
But Tim, those aren't the rules. We have to look at the rules, look at the environment that you're in, and go to war. That's what we like to do.
Yeah, I mean, why is it, and I've known you for a while, obviously, and I'm not kissing your butt when I say this. Why is it that you were really one of the first people who paid attention to this? Why did it take so long for the right, and they still haven't caught up, by the way, and I'm glad that you're in the forefront of this and your organization's in the forefront of this. Why is it that you were the guy who paid attention to this? What did you see that other people weren't seeing, other than obvious things?
Well, 2016 was interesting for me. It was kind of a learning experience. So, you had Trump running in November for the White House against Hillary, right? But that same night, Rand Paul was running for re-election. And this was kind of my eye-opening experience. I was helping Rand Paul with his re-elect, and we did an analysis of all the spending that happened in that race, Republican versus Democrat, U.S. Senate seat in Kentucky. And if you look at all the different electioneering methods, okay, whether it's TV, radio ads, digital ads, billboards, sending pieces of mail, whatever it might be, there was absolutely parity amongst the Democrats and Republicans. We had volunteers and they had volunteers, but there was one major difference, and that was that they had paid canvassers. They had paid door knockers on the left. We didn't have that. I love our volunteers. The left loves our volunteers. But I said to Justin Grice, my COO, I said, why aren't we doing this on the right? And that was the beginning of my journey to try to understand why it was that we matched the Democrats at everything else. And the only conclusion that I've come to is that the incentive structure for the consultants, the campaign managers, and these vendors, who wants to do the hard work of knocking doors when you can make millions of dollars pumping money into television ads where you're working with the professional class? That's the best job security I have. No one wants to build these programs. You got to raise millions of dollars. You got to run all the logistics, hiring the people, vetting the people, onboarding, training, putting them up in Airbnbs, retraining them, getting gas cards, rental cars, putting all this together with literature, the data. It is difficult work. And then maintaining all of them and running the program, it doesn't make for easy work, but the left doesn't put up with it. They do it because they know it works. The right, thanks to Charlie Kirk, thanks to 2024, kind of this shift in the mindset, there was enough pressure from the grassroots that said, enough is enough. We have to build door-knocking campaigns and match the Democrats with their infrastructure. It's finally happening. It took a lot of pressure, but we're there.
Yeah, I just, again, you've proven success on this. It comes down to door knocking, but you're right. It's I've noticed a lot because we're old men now in this, by the way. I think we are pretty soon. We're going to be like the senior guys that show up to Americans for Tax Reform meetings, shuffle in, and Grover gives us free donuts for being there. But it's so easy for the consultant class to hand over money for ad buys, and there's such a kickback system, and there's so much money in it for TV ads, and TV ads don't make the difference. It's actually showing up, touching hands, having conversations with people that makes a difference. And this has been proven over and over again by you, but by many, many organizations. And we have to break away from it. I've found when I'm doing innovative things, and you've been doing innovative things, that there's been significant pushback because, again, you're taking money out of these old consultants' hands who are used to a style of living where they've got every Rolex you can think of. And, they roll in their Bentley and they're like, we're ready to do some polling and get an ad placed. It's insane, right?
Yeah, and I think the most fulfilling thing that I get to do is when you run programs like we do, they might be tough, but you create so many opportunities for young people, right? The pipeline of our folks that after 2024 are now working in the administration. I mean, we have nearly 100 people that were on the ground with us in certain states that are now working in the administration. Tons of stories of people that are looking to get involved in politics. Well, we pay our people, right? This is not a volunteer. This is not an internship program. This is full-time paid staff that get to come out. They get to do this work. And so it's been exciting. You know, it's been exciting for us to be able to create these opportunities and to get young people involved.
Yeah, you've got a book out right now, Run Right, The Complete Election Playbook to Win. A great book, by the way, forwarded by Tyler, COO of Turning Point Action. That guy knows a little bit about winning as well. And of course, your co-author, Joshua, is fantastic. I know everybody should go get this book. They should go start digging in and reading it. Let me see if I can get it centered. I, of course, can't. Why would I be able to do that? Tell people about it and what they'll get from this book.
Yeah, so pretty much the book is for folks that want to run for office, they want to win, and then they want to stay principled. And staying principled is a big part of it. A lot of people know me more as an ideologue than just someone who wants to win. You know, we're trying to have certain policies and certain principles that are advanced. So the book is literally our 18-step guide when we do candidate trainings, and Justin Grice and myself walk people through what it means to go from 0 to 100 in politics. So you can know nothing about running for office, read the book, and you will understand the fundamentals. You'll understand the basics. And I got to give a shout out to Justin Grice and a huge shout out to Joshua Lysick for working on this project with me, Tyler Boyer for the foreword. But it's really about teaching people lessons that I learned so that you don't have to go through them. Now, Tim, everybody always says to me, why would you put this out there for the left and the commies and the establishment Republicans to be able to read? There's thousands of books on the left, right? I need patriots to get this book, runrightbook.com, get this book because I need more of you in the fight. And if you're not looking to run for office, but you want to get involved in politics, it's for you too. It's for people that want to run or that want to figure out how to win campaigns. It'll teach you everything you need to know. Runrightbook.com, and it's out there for everybody.
And you can get a free digital bonus when you order your copy today, because that just popped up as the ad on runrightbook.com. Did you get bestseller? I know you sold a bunch your first week. Did you get
we did make, obviously, on Amazon, which is like, you know, it's a, I don't know if I should even say that publicly. But yeah, we're working on it at the moment. We've sold quite a bit. It's been interesting though. I mean, this is my first one. I know, you know, a lot of people that we know have put a bunch out. But it's been a heck of a process. And to be honest with you, the media has been the wildest thing. The people that care about a book that want to bring you on an interview, this is not a shot at you, Tim, you're a friend. But it's like, I'm like, man, I should have done this 10 years ago. Like, you can write anything. And people are like, hey, come on and talk about the book. And I'm like, well, this is me like waiting till I had a huge win, the curriculum built over a decade. But the feedback from the book has been great. We've got endorsements from you, Nick Freitas, Jack Posobiec, John Bruner, Tiffany Justice. So many great people that are stepping up, and that means a lot to me to hear that from people I respect and people I trust.
Well, look, maybe I can learn how to run campaigns, because you certainly can't teach me how to play bubble craps, and that's what's important. Is that you and I, you've watched me strike out a lot in person in Vegas. But no, this is an incredible book. Again, you have done it. And it speaks to your humility, which a lot of people would argue back and forth that neither you nor I have any kind of humility whatsoever between the two of us. But it speaks to your humility that you waited to really go on a full media push till you wrote a book, and you actually had proven success. Because a lot of people, let's use swear words, a lot of people push a lot of bullshit when they have accomplished nothing. You were the complete opposite here, and I think this is an excellent book, and I think everybody watching should go grab a copy of it. Learn how to win a campaign. Learn where we are in this world right now and in America, and how to do it and how to do it right from the guy who has done it right. And that's Cliff Maloney, CEO of Citizens Alliance. What else you got going on? Anything else? We got about a minute.
No, I'll just tell people, you know, if anybody wants to knock doors full time, we're hiring a bunch of positions: Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, a couple other states. Folks can check us out at doorswinwars.com. That's our motto: Doors Win Wars. And on X, you know, I'm trying to give the hot takes. I'm trying to keep up with Tim Runs His Mouth on X at Maloney, Maloney. But I mean, we need as many people as we can for 2026. I don't want to be the guy that is the pessimist, but I'm here to tell you, it could be a very bad night. if we don't go into overdrive right now, not 3 months from now, not 5 months from now, right now, we've got to start doing what the left is doing. We're on the ground. We've been here since January in all of our target states, but we need to continue to make that exponential growth. And here's the last takeaway. We're not going home, right? 2027 is not an off year. That is a myth. That is a figment of your imagination. We have to do what the left does, which is permanent infrastructure, set up, never go home. That's what I'm trying to do.
And this is exactly why, is because the messy California governor and Los Angeles mayor primaries, where it will take weeks to count these ballots, even though third world countries can get it done very, very quickly. Insane stuff. Cliff Maloney, again, thanks for being here, and we'll talk soon.
Appreciate you, Tim. Take care.
So yeah, I mean, that is, you got to go get this book. Let me pull this book back up. Doors Win Wars, the Run Right book. Where's my, there we go. Share that tab instead. Go get his book. It's actually a really good book, and happy to endorse it. I wrote an article and a review of it. You can go check out my review as well while you're at it. But it's an important read and a very good read at that. All right, let's get back to what we were talking about, because again, it was Circus Day or Circus Week rather. The circus was in town. The Trump administration was up against the clowns of the Democrat Party. Here is, by the way, one of my favorite members of Congress, and I'm sure yours too, Sri Tanadar, who is just a joy to listen to. He was so prepared for this meeting. He painted on fresh eyebrows, and he showed up to really hand it to Secretary Mullen, or so he thought.
Concerns that your post will motivate white supremacist violence. When will you stop DHS from using its social media accounts to spread bigoted and racist words and imagery promoting great replacement theory?
I can't be the only one that doesn't think that he knows how to read what's in front of him, right? I mean, anyway, look at this. Look at those eyebrows. Wow, wow, wow. He really got him done. He's really looking like a star today.
It's interesting how you make those claims and give no facts, but yet your party's the one that's supporting the guy that's got a Nazi tattoo.
I have the facts. I have the facts.
Very good point, by the way. Talking about white supremacy, that's the automatic on all of this. Actually, it's the automatic on almost everything. Inappropriate statements, white supremacy, all of those things. Graham Platter. You guys are still supporting Graham Platter. He's got a Nazi tattoo, and he has said some of the worst things you could ever say to women. Has a Graham Platter. So a good start by Secretary Mullen. It keeps going.
Facts, sir.
No, there is no facts. You throw out nationalism, Nazism, and that's exactly what causes the hatred and the violence that happens to our officers every single day. And you should be ashamed of using that.
Well, look, no, it's not my words.
It is your words.
Look here.
It is your words.
Here is Colorado
Did you
Fusion
endorse the
Center.
candidate in Maine?
Here is Colorado.
Did you endorse the candidate in Maine? That's a Nazi.
Let me reclaim my time, sir. Colorado Fusion Center says ICE white nationalist messaging could lead to violence.
I don't think he knows how to read. I really don't think he knows how to read. And I'm not saying because of the accent or any of that stuff. I just don't think he knows how to read. These words are big words for him. Listen to when he's like trying to own them here. Like, it's just not happening here. Again, and I've screwed up. I've done a lot of live things where I've clearly screwed up what I'm saying, but he looks like he's really struggling to get through it.
That's a Nazi.
Let me reclaim my time, sir. Colorado Fusion Center says ICE white nationalist messaging could lead to violence. There is just numerous reports.
Who said that? Who said that? And what is they actually?
This is Colorado Fusion Center.
Now tell me exactly what message you're talking about. Now, don't give me some poll that is ran by the left is talking about. Give me what your actually specific details that you're saying that DHS said. Yeah, you don't want to talk about it but you want to throw out racism all the time to my
Mr.
department.
Secretary,
Is it true?
Mr.
Again, good point there by Secretary Mullen, but and by the way, also good for him not spending $220 million on commercials for himself. I don't believe he spent any money to make himself look like a Hollywood star, which is a good start. Great start for any DHS secretary. Don't do that. But they're just bringing up random articles, and they're yapping random talking points, and then they're saying white supremacy and racist and whatnot while supporting a man with an actual Nazi tattoo on his chest. I talked about this the other day when I filled in for Will Kane. You know, his wife, who has been out covering for him, is this Graham Plattner. When they met each other, he had the tattoo. And I don't expect her to be a secondary, I don't expect her to know exactly what the tattoo meant, but at some point you ask, hey, what's the old big tattoo in your chest mean? And it had to come up, right? I mean, the guy refers to his junk as Mein Fuhrer, apparently, on these chats that he's on. So it had to come up, and she had to know. He only recently covered it up. He had it for 18 years. So I don't want to hear, just like Secretary Millen, I don't want to hear any leftists talking about white supremacy and them being concerned about it when they endorse a candidate from Maine who is literally everything that they claim the right is. I just don't want to hear it from them. The circus, of course, continued. Where would we be without the representative from Hogwarts? Here's Rosa DeLauro. I mean, I don't know if, and you can debate this in the chat if you'd like, I don't know if she's the representative from Hogwarts or the representative from wherever the land was in the Dark Crystal. But here she was, also barely reading, going through words at the acting Attorney General.
Yes or no question. What I've just mentioned, do you believe that what I've talked about is enough here for the next Attorney General to open a...
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm distracted. She has a ring on every... It honestly looks like she's tried to assemble the Infinity Stones on her hand. Very similar to Thanos. I think she has... Maybe we should be worried. Maybe I shouldn't make fun of her because she looks like she's collected all the Infinity Stones. Sorry, I'll go back to that.
Yes or no question. What I've just mentioned, do you believe that what I've talked about is enough here for the next Attorney General to open a criminal investigation? Yes or no?
No, you just read a bunch of random, unsourced news articles and reports. No, that's not the basis to open a criminal investigation. I mean, you're looking around, but it's not.
This is not the basis on which
it is not. Just reading something that's just a hypothetical off a news article,
it's not a hypothetical. It is real.
I mean, look at that. She might snap her fingers and he might disappear. Look at that. Look right there at that. That is all the Infinity Stones. She's got them all right there on her hand. And she might snap her fingers and half of us disappear. I've seen that movie. I understand the lure. I know what she's got on her hand. That's a powerful weapon.
Did the president get a Guattari? What? Do you read the press?
Did the president get a Guattari?
What? Do you read the press? Are you knowledgeable?
Not the same press you do.
Apparently not, my friend.
Promise.
Apparently not. Did the president receive a luxury jet from the Qatari government valued at hundreds of millions of dollars, which is a
United States of
violation
America did.
of the emoluments clause of the Constitution?
It is not. It is not.
Well, yes or no question.
Rosa DeLauro yapping about whatever media that she read. She wasn't ready for, don't you read the press? She wasn't ready for him to be like, not the same crap that you're reading. Wow, look at her. She would have made a good panelist on Match Game back in the 70s. She looks like somebody who was having a bad day. I mean, that's Oh, here we... Great comments, by the way, guys. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments here. She's mad Dorothy dropped a house on her sister. Great, yes. And back to Sri Tadador. It was written in Bangladeshi. It was written in English, not Bangladeshi. That's why I had trouble. You said it, not me. But she's upset that Dorothy dropped a house on her sister. Oh. But she doesn't. I mean, there's so much joy. What do you think it's like? Does she have to go through the metal detectors? I have a girlfriend that refuses to take her jewelry off when she goes through metal detectors. And let me tell you something. I just leave her at TSA. That's what you do. You hang out with one of these. You leave her. You're going to go through TSA with all that? All right, well, I'll see you in the lounge. I'll be there. See you in 20 minutes. They're going to have to scan every single piece that you got on your hands and fingers and toes and whatever else you got. What a wonderful jacket that she has on there. It's very, very reminiscent. Again, I can't knock this. Maybe this is just style I don't understand. It kind of looks like something that Macho Man would have worn and gone to the ring. What is her style? Like, what is she going for? What is the look? Is that her hair or is that a wig? But what is her look? What is the look that she's going for here? You got rings on every finger. You got 20 pounds of, looks like jewelry that you see at the Salvation Army on her arms. It's actually, I can't say that. It's probably like a pure gold because she's a member of Congress. She's probably done great. I don't know what her investing or stock profile looks like. She's probably got 10 pounds of gold on her. But this jacket's, I mean, again, who am I to comment on a woman's outfit? But what a hell of an outfit does Rosa DeLauro have there? What a star! Wow, but she has enough rings on that she actually has all of the Infinity Stones. She snaps her fingers, we all disappear. Not to take away from the president here, because while his cabinet was owning people on Capitol Hill, he was owning reporters in the White House. Here he is responding to a stupid question about what is a ceasefire.
How do you define ceasefire? How do you define ceasefire?
Pretty much the way it is. It's a different part of the world. You know, I'd say in that part of the world, ceasefire is when you're shooting in a more moderate manner.
Ceasefire is when you're shooting in a more moderate manner instead of going crazy. That's from President Trump the other day. Again, he's got more and more lines over and over again, but we had to see his entire cabinet basically go out in front of the circus that is the liberals in both the Senate and the House of Representatives this past week. And they did a phenomenal job, especially Marco Rubio. Sri Tenadar reminds me about a local story that has taken on national implications. H-1B visas have exploded around this country. And one of the organizations, the best organization actually, that has been covering it is the Dallas Express. They have done many, many things. This is just one of the many, many articles that they've written on it. Joining me now to talk about that is CEO of the Dallas Express, Chris Putnam. Once I get him in here, there we go. Chris, how you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me, Tim.
Yeah, let's talk about this because you guys have been covering this nonstop. You're actually one of the first movers on this. I think what's really fun about the Dallas Express is that you guys are usually the first movers to cover these stories, and then everybody else around the country steals them from you without giving you credit. What's that like, by the way?
I think you've been there. It's just part of the way things work now, I guess.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. But what's happening in Frisco? I mean, we've got an event coming up. We'll talk about in a second here. But like, what is happening in Frisco right now seems to be the center of it. It just seems like there are homes that have, between 20 and what's the most that we've seen H-1B visas in one house? Like 30 or 40?
That's why they're building these big houses up there. Yeah.
And they're pretending that that they all fit in there.
It's crazy. There's really, it's a nuanced issue, of course, because we can all agree, I think, that lots of forms of immigration are good. The problem in Frisco is that over 30% of the population now is East Indian. And it's fundamentally kind of changing the character of that community, which, as you know, has been one of the more explosive growth, successful communities in the North Texas area because there's a lot of large employers up there, particularly employers that employ, a lot of tech personnel. And so people are, I think, rightfully concerned about if they've gone too far. And frankly, the concern should be whether the policy's gone too far because it is being abused at this point. And as you know, there's also quite a bit of corruption associated with it. And so I don't think you can blame these folks for, seeing the fabric of their community basically fundamentally changed in a material way. Some of the schools have as high as 90% the East Indian population in certain classrooms. And then, of course, the other issue is the impact to American workers. I mean, this program was never contemplated to be a labor arbitrage program to displace Americans with, just cheaper labor. It was supposed to, allow us to employ unique tech skill sets. And obviously it's doing a lot more than that at this point.
Yeah, it just seems completely out of control. By the way, I saw I should have taken it down, a reel from Instagram the other day, where if you go into IKEA up near Frisco, they actually have like Indian garb in the cases now. when you go into it,
yeah.
as opposed to like American clothes. It's like it's wild to me that they're just completely. It's one thing if you assimilate to our country, but it's another when you start dumping like gross milk and stuff into our lakes, which Brandon Gill talked about at one point, and like you're practicing all these things that are destroying Texas in many different ways.
Yeah, assimilation or lack thereof is a big issue, of course. It's a very proud culture, and I appreciate and respect that. Also, I always make the point that it's not the H-1B immigrants that we need to be pointing the finger at here. It's the policymakers that have allowed this, and not only allowed it, but seemingly refused to make any attempts to reform it. And there's a very good reason for that. A lot of elected officials are scared to death of this issue because think of who the donor base is, right? It's these same big companies that are employing these folks. They're just taking advantage of the laws that have been passed, and that's where the accountability really needs to be. And that starts federal, as you know, because it is a federal immigration law. But there's things that we can do at the state level as well as the local level, in regards to things like zoning and some other issues, to help mitigate it or at least kind of get it under control. Because, like you said, it's out of control right now.
It is absolutely out of control. Somebody who also knows about the impact of this is the chief economist for the Heritage Foundation and one of the chief economists basically in the country in general, EJ Antoni. EJ, have you followed the H-1B visa issue?
Yeah, I think it's obviously a program that is in just desperate need of reform because in so many ways it's not doing what it was intended to do, right? This is supposed to be essentially a way to get skilled workers into the country when you can't find those skills here in America first. But it's not supposed to be a way to just like swap American labor for foreign labor, right? This is supposed to be a supplement, not a replacement. And again, I think at this point, the program is it's blatantly obvious. It needs to be reformed because it is too often used by companies, again, for replacement as opposed to supplementation. And there have been cases where, businesses essentially, this is very well documented. It's not like it's some conspiracy theory or whatever. It's been very well documented where businesses will fire a ton of Americans and then turn around and try to get H-1B visas and say, oh, well, we just can't find Americans for this work. What are you talking about? You just had them. You fired them all. And then you replace them with foreign labor.
It's incredible. And they were doing that actually with programs in the Biden administration with refugees, where I believe there were food processing plants and companies were signing up and they would get bonuses they would get money from the government to hire the asylum seekers or the refugees. And they would fire their entire white or local is white because it's usually suburban America workforce and hire then all of these people for basically pennies on the dollar to come work for them. And it would be subsidized by the government. It was insane how these things were going.
We've seen ads from North Texas employers that literally specify don't apply if you're not H-1B immigrant or on H-1B visa.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That's a great example, right? Where the system's clearly being abused, right? That's not the purpose of these programs. The purpose is to get the best and the brightest into this country. That we want we want the Thomas Alexander Graham Bells, we want Elon Musk's, right? Those are the kinds of people that we want, the best and the brightest, and we want them from around the world. What we don't need is to import the worst of the third world. What we don't need is to import all of this unskilled labor that then is going to price out the average American from the labor market.
Looping back and doing something a little happier, a little bit higher, happier to a point, because when we talk about stolen articles from the Dallas Express, they covered something earlier this week that went crazy viral. That should make us all happy. And we have an economic expert with us and an expert on pizza with us as well. Pizza Hut is bringing back classic Pizza Huts. They're making Pizza Hut great again by bringing back the old school. I believe you guys, I think you guys were in the ballpark of Book It. Did you guys do Book It back in the day?
I was not a big user of Book It, but I'm very familiar with Pizza Hut, of course, and I desperately miss the salad bar.
I don't want to actually, now knowing what everyone has, and we'll discuss the salad bar, a segue into our next topic after that. Let me write this down. Salad bar. Disgusting. But back in the day, you would read a couple of books and you would get a sticker for your Book It program, and you'd go get a free personal pan pizza.
That's right. Now I remember. Yeah, I needed the
childhood
refresh.
of the Baltimore area, and I loved it because it was pure butter back in the day, or pure oil, or whatever they would have back in the day. But Pizza Hut, going back to their original style of location, it's exploding all over Texas. The Dallas Express covered it, and Chris, you covered it. What do you think that means overall? I'll go to Chris first, and then obviously economically going to EJ. But what do you think it means that people are wanting this vintage Pizza Hut back?
I think nostalgia sells, and there's a certain level of comfort that people have with it, and they identify with it. And I mean, at least people my age, I'm considerably older than you, grew up going to Pizza Hut and eating under that red roof. And so I think that familiarity and that comfort is a big part of it. And, a lot of these brands, try to change in a very forward direction. What was the Cracker Barrel as an example? How'd that work out? So I think it's actually pretty smart from a marketing point of view.
EJ, what do you think? I mean, is it the nostalgia thing? Is it has Pizza Hut been struggling? I mean, I know that a lot of fast food, I know alcohol is down 20% across the board. Has that been happening with kind of fast food too in America?
I think it really depends on a lot of different factors. Location's a big one. And I don't just mean this street corner versus across town, but.
Uh-oh, did he lock up? All right, well, EJ's going to figure out his internet, and we'll get him back in here. I don't know what happened. He's frozen in the same position. He got so excited about Pizza Hut that he lost connection. He was ordering pizza. He was looking where he could go. But here we go. I think we got him back here. There we go. We'll talk about the economics of your shitty Wi-Fi in a bit.
Thank you. Verizon, you suck.
Go back in. You were talking about something, and then you locked up, and I made fun of you.
I think one of the things that's really been hurting fast food the last several years has just been the general cost of living crisis, and we see that if we look at not only total volume, like sales volume for fast food, but we look at how people are paying for it. Tim, it's gotten bad. Like increasingly, people use buy now, pay later schemes like Klarna or one or the others in order to be able to afford McDonald's, for crying out loud. So whether it's McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Burger King, Wendy's, Domino's, the rest of them, it's clear that because the consumer is struggling, that's having an impact on fast food. And you've seen it with certain companies that have pared down their menu items because they're trying to cut costs, or they're changing suppliers, a lot of times having to pick lower quality because, again, trying to offset costs. And then you're seeing certain instances where what you could consider to be benefits that were regularly offered are now being done away with. Things like free refills, increasingly that's disappearing.
Why is that?
Two reasons. One is changing consumer habits or whatever, which just basically means people in certain areas of the country are always stealing.
Yes.
So
that is a changing consumer. That is in fact a changing consumer habit.
Yeah. But even where that's not the case, even where people are actually paying for the initial drink and they're only using the regular cup and not bringing in like an empty milk jug to put under the soda fountain, even when people are actually playing by the rules, it is still costly a lot of times for those businesses, Tim. So the businesses are simply responding by getting rid of that benefit. And now they're going to, okay, you pay for one drink and you only get one and there are no free refills. It's the exact same thing that we've seen with hotels, where all of us are old enough to remember before the pandemic when you would get room service every single day, or excuse me, maid service, right? Yep. Every single day when you were at a hotel. And today what happens, oftentimes, even if you're there for like 3, 4, or 5 nights, you won't get that service unless you call the front desk and request it. It's just one of countless ways in which the quality of the products and services that we pay for have gone down dramatically as a result of inflation and as a result of businesses trying to cut costs. And none of that, by the way, is actually captured in our inflation metrics. So it is just another data point, I think, that goes to show how bad the cost of living crisis is and how much worse it is than the official government numbers are telling you.
Yeah, it's insane. Hey, Chris, how much does it cost you when every other publication in the area steals your article about Pizza Hut?
That's a good question. I don't know that I want to know that math. It's considerable, that's for sure.
It's insane. If I go to, by the way, we have an event coming up, you and I. Is it on the website right now? If I go to the
Yes.
Where can I go on the website? Because I'm irresponsible and I didn't plan ahead of time.
I don't have it up in front of me. Hopefully it's somewhere on the homepage.
What's the event called?
It's Are We Still in America? And it's discussing in a rational way, picking through all those nuances, everything we just discussed about H1 immigration, O1 immigration. That's another one that hardly anybody ever talks about. It's also interesting because that program allows you to bring essentially your whole family over with you. And it's been exploited by, I don't know what we call these people, influence or content makers, right? OnlyFans people, to the point that, your domestic OnlyFans content people are frustrated and upset about this program. Wow. So, yeah, I mean, the idea again is you have a civil conversation, the good and the bad about immigration, but what's wrong with this program, what needs to be reformed, who we need to productively talk to, as opposed to, people going and screaming at city councils. It's just like, who is at the end of the day, the people that can influence change as it relates to this policy? Because as the other guy said, it absolutely needs to change.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild, but this is going to be a good event. I'm going to be on that panel. Who else is going to be there? Do we have any other confirmed speakers yet?
Oh yeah, we have Amy Robbins, who's a Fox and Newsmax contributor.
Mm-hmm.
Kaylee Campbell, who's been very independent journalist, who's been all over this issue in that community specifically. This event happens to be in McKinney at a restaurant called Revel on June the 18th at 6 o'clock. Yeah, so it's gonna be an outstanding panel.
I think it'll be a great time, and we may have.
We got a couple calls out to some prominent elected officials. We're trying to reel them in. Like, as I mentioned, even the ones that are supportive of reform of the policy, they're nervous about talking about it in public for risk of, getting on the wrong side of their major donors.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much money coming from the H-1B and the tech community that takes advantage of it. It's wild, absolutely.
And the president, as you know, is publicly supportive of it, as is Elon Musk. So it's a tricky one.
Yeah. Before we go, I have a last topic here. This one is kind of fun. It says, worrying COVID cicada variant spreads as U.S. maps go dark. So here's the deal. Federal funding cuts for one of America's major infectious disease surveillance programs could threaten public health responses, experts say, sparking widespread concern, particularly as, again, they're still worried about a new COVID variant, but I think there's a lot of other problems that could come up with this. As part of President Donald Trump's budget plan, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, their national wastewater surveillance system, will see its funding cut from $125 million to about $25 million a year. So this is when you said about the salad bar. Salad bars are disgusting, but what this does is they allow us. And by the way, this shows you what I've been looking up online at the same time. Watches.
It's worth it for the bacon bits, Tim.
They're disgusting.
Just pile on the bacon bits.
So what's happening here? And this is a Newsweek article. They basically just monitor our wastewater right now. So they go through and they have $125 million a year to go through and sort through our waste, and it is an early detection system to tell us if there's a pandemic or if everybody's getting sick or if there's drugs in our water or if there's something bad that's going through. Our government's able to detect it. Now, a lot of people say this might be a violation of our freedoms and too much digging into our private lives. But I think if the government wants to dig through our poop water and see if something bad is happening, I think that's okay, and we should keep it funded. I'm usually a person for small government, but I think cutting this back actually kind of puts us at risk. I wanted to get your opinions on it.
I would say that if how about if the government hadn't gotten involved in COVID, things might have been actually better. So no harm, no foul, as far as I'm concerned.
I actually don't mind my taxpayer money going for our government to fish through our poop.
Well, Tim, maybe can we kind of square the circle here, or thread the needle, or whatever other metaphor you want to use, and say the government has absolutely no business like testing for COVID in our wastewater, but I do very much care that the wastewater we're dumping back into rivers has actually been treated properly. Like, I do want the sewage plant to actually have to test the water to see what's in it and to make sure we're not putting like harmful chemicals and stuff out into the local creek. I say this with one particular thing in mind, which is actually having to do with birth control, and how where they have tested it, they have found that areas where too many of the women basically are using hormonal birth control, that some of those chemicals in relatively high concentrations end up getting through the wastewater system and dumped out into rivers, which then for some other town goes into the drinking water. And again, we're not talking about like trace levels here that are going to have no impact. We're talking about like they discovered high enough thresholds that it would actually have an impact on, forget like local wildlife, but the humans who end up drinking that water downstream.
There's also the chance that in a smaller town there may be some sort of a fentanyl crisis or something, or somebody actually poisoning the water or something. There are a lot of different aspects of this. I didn't even think about the environmental aspect on the back end, that it could actually affect kids or families or people down the line when that water is not properly processed. But there's just a lot there, and you're right. It's a complex topic, right? Because you don't want the government overreach. I just kind of laugh that they want to spend money fishing through our stuff. I obviously am not a big fan of the COVID narratives from the past and the government being over controlling with that. But on the same hand, I think it ultimately protects us. I think it's like it is. You have to thread the needle on it. And it's a very complex topic, and I'll probably dig into it more because it's just a fun one for me. I think it's a high level policy to discuss, and something that, like, again, when you're cutting, unless there's severe waste like a USAID situation, I think cutting any kind of program that helps protect us from chemicals and diseases and things like that, it's a scary situation if there hasn't been that overarching waste. So just my opinion on that, kids. Okay. It's 3:00. It's time to wrap up the show. We've talked about a lot today. I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank Cliff Maloney, CEO of Citizens Alliance, for being here. Chief economist E.J. Antoni from the Heritage Foundation. I know that group. Also, apparently. Chris Putnam, CEO of the Dallas Express. Again, Dallas ex-CEO is Chris. Real E.J. Antoni is it E.J. And of course, ForAmerica. I want to thank you guys for our first real partnered show here outside of our big experiment in Congress a couple of weeks ago. We're going to be looking forward to doing these on Mondays and Thursdays. It's been fun hanging out with you guys. Please follow everyone here on social media. And until